So subtitles in DaVinci Resolve just got a whole lot easier. So as of the new version, which is actually still in public beta, but I've been testing it for a little bit and it seems to be working pretty nice. And it's got a feature built into it amongst some other really nice new features where you can do automatic generation of subtitles from your audio files. You can also do auto-generated transcripts. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are with this is a little older video on one of my other channels, and we're gonna take this project that has previously been uploaded, and we're gonna generate the closed caption file or subtitles, and then we're gonna export it and upload it to the video. And at the same time, I'll show you how to do it if you're gonna render it. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go up here to where it says timeline, and we're going to pop this menu down, and we're just going to choose create subtitles from audio. Now this is for if you want to do it on the timeline. You can do it for an individual clip, but most people aren't going to do it that way. That's more for if you want to do a raw transcript. There's some interesting features there, but we're going to be covering that in another video sometime in the near future. Okay, so we're going to click on Create Subtitles from Audio. And then we get this little window pop up. And we're just going to leave it as default because we can make some adjustments to this later. So we're going to click on Create. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes, maybe even 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the length of your video. This video is like just under 33 minutes in length, so it takes a little bit to initialize and a little bit more to actually do it. I will bring you back when it's done generating the subtitle. Okay, there we go. So in real time, that took about 5.5 minutes, something like that. I didn't time it exactly. Now you'll notice that we have this new track here, which is our subtitle track. We can name this anything we want. So in my case, I'm gonna name this the same as the video. So April 11th, 2023 vlog. So depending on where you're going to be using this, if you're going to be using it for local videos with a local player, you need to have the file that we're going to export to be the same name as the video file for it to recognize and play your closed captioning. So that's why I'm choosing to name it like this. I just wanted to make sure that was covered. So now what we can do is we can just click over here on the subtitle track, and you'll notice up here in our inspector, if we need to go through and actually edit some of these, we can. So let's just verify that this is actually kind of working properly. So we'll just play a couple seconds. I did that 2 or 3 days in a row. So it seems to be working fine. So we'll just click over here again. So if there was one that you needed to correct, then you can actually go and you can find the particular caption block. So we could zoom in a bit here. We could click on this caption block, and then you see it highlights it here in red. And then you can go up to this little window here, and you could make an edit. Now this is fine. I'm not going to edit it, but this is where you could. Now the next thing that we're going to look at doing is we're going to go to track. So we're going to go to track. And now if we want to get fancy, we can change the color of our characters, we can add a stroke to it, or other types of transform. We could move it around the screen a bit, and we could add a drop shadow or background. Now some of the formats will ignore color changes to the text, others don't. So I'm gonna show you the three main ones that seem to work fine with YouTube. But one of them, although it works fine, it adds some extra characters on each line that I didn't like. So I'll just make you aware of what those are. But what we're going to do here in my case is I like to put a background behind them. So I'm just going to turn on the background. Now you can change your corner radius and outline width and opacity and stuff. You notice it's looking really close to the text, but the version of one that I'm going to show you I prefer actually adds a little extra padding, so it's not so tight to the letters like that. Okay, so once you've made the changes that you need to and you've got it just the way you like it, in this case I'm going to first show you how to just export it, and then you can upload it to an already existing video. So we just go over here to this column here, and we go to the track and we right click and we go export subtitle. Okay, so now you've got some choices. You've got the SRT, SRT without formatting, you got VTT, and IMSC. Now IMSC is the one that if you go to actually render out your video, that's the one it'll default to, and it does seem to work fine on YouTube. The only thing is if we take a look over here, you'll see this black background isn't completely opaque, so it's got some transparency to it. It's set to 50%. So if you choose the IMSC, YouTube will ignore that translucency setting or opacity setting, and will just make it straight black. So that's the reason I don't go with that one. SRT, that works as well, and it does show the transparency that you want, but what it does is it puts like a little B at the front and the back inside of little angle brackets, and it adds that to every line, and I didn't really like that, so I don't use that one. Unfortunately, once you've uploaded to and attach it to a YouTube video, there's no way that I know of to remove it. You can go in and manually edit each little section, but so I've had to leave it on the one video that I saw what it did. It didn't do it when I played it locally, but YouTube seemed to pick that up and display the little bees. So the one that I like to use is actually VTT, and it's labeled a little bit differently on the render page, but we'll get to that in a second. So I'll choose that one because I named it over here. It's properly named here, so I don't have to change it. So oh, and I'm in the wrong folder here. I've been messing with this a little bit while I worked out the kinks. So this is going to be logs. Okay. So we can go ahead and save it, and then we can just upload that to YouTube. But before we do that, I'll show you how to handle this if you're rendering a new video and you want it done at the same time. So we'll just go over to our deliver page, and you'll see we got it here. Okay, so you would go ahead and set up in here however you want it, and the important thing is when you first come into here, it's going to show subtitle settings at the very bottom. Now just be advised, if you normally are using this little shortcut here for YouTube videos, as soon as you click that, the subtitle stuff becomes unavailable, it just disappears. So don't use that setting. You'll have to set up your render a little more manually. Now if you're doing this for YouTube, typically people will use MP4 and H.264 or H.265, and use hardware encoding if you've got it available, and you have everything else set up. Then go down here to your subtitle settings, open that up, and then click on this little box here to export subtitle, and you want it set as a separate file, because if you embed it into the video, then people can't click that little closed captioning button and turn it off and on. And I personally find that really annoying. And then you'll notice that it is defaulting to the IMSC. So we're going to pop this down, and you'll see it's got web VTT, and that's basically the same format that we chose when we were exporting it directly from the edit page. So you can click on that, and then you got to tell it which subtitle track you're including. And the reason they do this is because a lot of people will have multiple language subtitle tracks. So this allows you to handle that. So you would click that, add it to your render queue, and then render it. And then you'll get two files at the end. Now I'm not going to render it because I don't need to for this video, but that's basically how you do that. So now if we bring up our file explorer here, you'll see we've got this VTT file in there. So now if you do the render process, you'll not only get your MP4 file, but you'll also get the VTT file. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up our browser window here. Okay, so we're going to go down. This is the one that we want to attach it to. So we're going to go in and edit it. Now, if you're uploading a new video, you'll have an opportunity right at the end where you put in your end screen, and you'll have a chance there to actually go in and your subtitles. It comes just above where you would set up your end screen stuff there. So it'll be the selection above that for subtitles. But when you're coming into an existing video, you find it over here. So we'll just click that. And we're going to tell it that we're going to upload the file. And we're going to select with timing. And then we'll just go in and we'll select it. We'll just select that VTT file. And there, it's all in place. You can do a little test run of it if you want to do that, so you can see it's working. So we'll click done. All right, so we're going to go back to our channel content. And then we're going to actually play it. Okay, now you see nothing's happening, but we go over here and we click on the CC button. And there we go. So now we've got our closed captioning working on our YouTube video. Now, to do closed captioning before was pretty complicated. You had to use a third-party program, go through your video file and do this for you. And most times they weren't as accurate as DaVinci Resolve. This new AI feature they put in DaVinci Resolve is absolutely fantastic. I've seen extraordinarily few errors on the few videos that I've been messing with doing this. So I hope you found this valuable. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one we've got coming out on automatic transcripts and all the fun you can have with that. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate you being here. See you on the next video. Bye for now.